earlier races tonight, he's a force to be reckoned with. Ran third to Ronnie Mackay and Trevor Morris after starting off the back mark. I think he is drawn fairly well in the field, 13, so he's in front of 18, I'm sorry, so he's in front of at least a couple of drivers, Larry Rice and the Indy 500 star Johnny Rutherford.
Butterworth won the World Championship here at Western Springs in 1973, and prior to that has a second and 2/3 also in World Championships won here. As Mike Raymond said, a very volatile driver, and if he can't get through one way or another, well, just look out, because the sparks are bound to fly.
Yes, he certainly has that reputation. If they won't move out of his way, he'll do his best to move them out of the way.
85, just in front of Butterworth, is the other New Zealand idol, and that is Trevor Morris. And Morris has been going particularly well down here at Western Springs. He is a former champion cyclist of New Zealand. He very nearly made the Olympic Games in 1960 on the road, and my word, since he's turned to speed car racing, he's done very well. He won the world title here at Western Springs in 1972, and other than that has 2/3 in world championships run here at Western Springs. The car is powered by a VW motor, and it is a very potent machine, and starting one in front of Butterworth, he was going to be very hard to pass.
Both Morris and Butterworth have international experience. They've driven in the United States. There's car number 1 from Australia. This was the car that was set aside for Johnny Rutherford to drive. The car is owned by Howard Revell from the Australian Capital Territory, and Rutherford has elected tonight to run the number 4 Sesco Chevrolet, and Revell has stepped back into his own car after an incident in an earlier event where he bent the exhaust pipes. They've carried out a lot of work in the pit area to make him mobile for tonight's World Derby.
And the next car on the scene is Ronnie Mackay, who was second in the 1972 World Championship here, and he's driving the VW number 14. You can just see the 4 there, the car just behind him.
The blue car there, yes.
That's the number 4 that's being driven by Johnny Rutherford. The crew standing round there. And next we go on to the blue car number 14. That's the one driven by the Australian Ronnie Mackay. Ronnie Mackay, I think, has won many Australian championships. Mike, you'd know more about that than I would.
Yes, he'll be returning after the World Derby this evening and going back to Sydney, where the National Championship circuit starts with 4 meetings, one in Brisbane, one on the asphalt at Liverpool, another one on dirt in Sydney at the showgrounds, and the grand final will be held in the Australian Capital Territory on a pavement oval. So Mackay is well versed in the art of dirt tracking, and when it comes to pavement racing, where the cars drive a lot straighter and certainly considerably faster, he's very good at that also.
Now starting just in front of Ronnie Mackay is Max Butterworth, the brother of Barry Butterworth, and incidentally he won, I think, the 1968 or 1969 World Derby in Sydney, and tonight he's driving a Mazda number 12, and he starts off the 13th grid. Number 12, we have driving car number 35, Ray Alec, car powered by a Chevy 2, and this particular car he has built himself, and it's certainly a credit to him in the way he drives it, and he could be very tough off the grid number 12.
Well, it is a good field, 20 starters for the 1977 speed car, the Blue Ribbon event, the World Derby here at Western Springs in Auckland. I think, if anything, the drivers at the back of the field, Johnny Rutherford and also Larry Rice, are going to be at a rather severe handicap, because so many of the New Zealand drivers that will be starting up around about the middle of the field have been going just so well tonight, they'll have to really pull out the stops, go for broke around the outside of the field in the first couple of laps, because Trevor Morris and also Barry Butterworth have been running so strong early tonight that it would be almost impossible for Larry Rice to give them up to all 6-7 position start. But we'll soon know that after 30 laps of frenzied sideways action here at Western Springs. The field is in position, awaiting the starters' orders to be pushed off. A couple of laps to warm up the tyres and make sure the running gear of all the cars operating smoothly, and then they'll take the green flag for this Blue Ribbon event.
Johnny Rutherford, I think, summed up the scene on his first appearance here when on the PA system he said that a reminder of his bucking bronco days. He got pushed and shunted that much during the evening that he said it just reminds me of my bucking bronco days, and he said they really put it all together, those boys out there. That's just what he thinks of the local drivers.
Well, looking at him, he's won Indianapolis twice. He holds the outright one-lap record at Indianapolis at 199.071 miles an hour. And here he is, 12,000 miles away from his home in Fort Worth, Texas, probably driving just for the for the sheer thrill of it, to get back into a speed car and get amongst the drivers and do some dirt tracking. And he's had a smile from ear to ear all night, despite the fact that he's had car problems. I think he's going to give it a good shot. He's happy with the Sesco car. He hasn't had an opportunity to drive it in a competition tonight, had an opportunity to drive it at the Wednesday night meeting here last week, and he believes it's got enough horsepower to win, but he did agree that in order to get to the front, he's going to have to go around the outside of the field.
We're just going further down the field. Car number 37 from Christchurch, New Zealand, in a Sesco-powered car. On the 10th grid is Alan Palmer. In front of him is another Christchurch driver, car powered by a Chevy motor. On the 9th grid, Mark Williams, driving an Offenhauser from Auckland. In grid number 8, car Pat Johnson. Then we go out to Eddie James, the former twice New Zealand champion, driving Holden. Eddie James on grid 7, car number 79. In front of him immediately is Mel Wheeler, driving a 2.3 Victor. He's on grid 6, that's car 27. On grid 5 is Leo Verco, car number 99, and he was third in the 1970 World event. His car is powered by a Chevy 2 motor. On the number 4 grid is Graham Hartnell, the Victor 2000, car number 25. Graham Hartnell, a very steady driver. And on number 3, number 75, Neville Mears with a Holden-powered speed car. Then we have on number 2, Bob Cheek, and number 30. This car, incidentally, was the one driven by the immortal Ray Revell from Sydney, Australia. And my word, that'll bring back memories to you, Mike.
Yes, he was one of the all-time greats of Australian speed car racing, and of course tonight his son, the second-generation star Howard Revell, steps into the field for the 30-lapper. He won his dad's memorial race only, I think it was about 14 days ago in Sydney at the Liverpool Raceway Circuit. There's the green flag. The pace car moves off slowly. And a very big crowd here tonight at Western Springs Stadium in Auckland for the running of the Blue Ribbon Speed Car event on the national calendar here. The World 30-lap quarter-mile track derby, and what a race it promises to be, with 2 Americans in the field, a good representation from Australia, and certainly the cream of New Zealand's top drivers. This will be just a sensational race. Let's hope that it goes accident-free, and we're going to see plenty of action, plenty of tough competition, and it's certainly going to test the back markers. Larry Rice from the United States, Johnny Fenton of Australia, they'll be sharing the back line. Barry Butterworth in car number 1, Trevor Morris in 17. They split the next line. Drawn a little better is Howard Revell, I guess, from position number 16. And, of course, Johnny Rutherford, car number 4, from position number 15.
Mike, any of those back 10 drivers could win. I wouldn't like to be the man that have to sort their grids out. And certainly it's going to be on. In the event of an accident and the yellow flashing lights come on, the field will slow down, the front runner has to slow down, and the cars can catch him up, and they will form in Indian file behind that car until the track is cleared. Once the track is cleared, the green lights will come on and the race will start again, and the laps they do during the flashing of the yellow lights do not count in the overall 30-lap count. So there it is. The motors are starting to whine now. The drivers are starting to really pound away on their cockpits now. The tension's starting to really build up. The spectators are all simmering as the cars gradually get started for this big Air New Zealand World 30-lap Championship here at Western Springs in Auckland tonight.
Only about another 8 or 9 cars to be push-started before we have the field lined up in rows of 2. From the pole position, we have Ken Hadley and a Holden. On the outside of the front row, Bob Cheek, also in a Holden. He's off position 2. Position 3, Neville Mears and a Holden. Position 3, and Graham Hartnell in a Victor 2000 for position number 4. Now, it's up to those 4 drivers to set the pace. If one of them makes a mistake in the first corner of this race, we're going to have the entire field down, because the track, whilst very, very slick on the inside line, it's still moist on the outside. Anyone who wants to really run hard and get up against that cushion and run round it can probably get away with it, but they'll have to do it very, very quickly in the opening laps of this race.
Certainly it'll be the driver who gets the break that's going to be very hard to beat. Some of these middle markers like Ray Alec, Ted Tracy, Alan Palmer, Max Butterworth, any of these drivers who get a break earlier on and actually hit the front and start to breathe that fresh air, it's going to be very hard for the back men to peg them back. particularly when you consider that these backmen have to fight their way through. It's different to Grand Prix racing where the fastest qualifier starts off the front and you're inclined to end up with a procession. In speedway racing such as this, the best men start at the back, and they've got to really show their driving prowess to get through to the front of the field. And here tonight they've got 30 laps to do it. Can they do it? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. But it'll only be a few minutes now before it's underway, and then we'll see the sparks really start to fly as these very, very potent midget cars start to tear this Western Springs track apart to take out this big money, the World 30-lap Midget Car Championship.
We were looking at Larry Rice a little earlier. He was on his second visit to New Zealand. He won the Bob Tattersall Classic here last season. Did very, very well indeed, and he's in tonight with a big chance. I think he was runner-up in the Bob Tattersall Classic this year to Johnny Fenton of Australia. And there's the field, as you can see, in an impressive field too, as they make their way around this banked quarter-mile oval here at Western Springs, which has a cycling track, as you can see, for the Sydney viewers of this championship tonight. There you can see the rib as they make their way around the corners. The drivers don't particularly like to get up there. There's plenty of racing room down towards the infield. And there you can see the drivers saluting the crowd in real Dust Bowl fashion as they create a bit of dust by going up onto the cycling velodrome. Going around, crowd responding with a big cheer for all the drivers as they settle in for starting positions prior to the start of this World 30-lap Derby tonight here at Western Springs.
Well, the pace car bringing them around, and they could go this time. They start an Indian file, and Ken Hadley is in the number 1 position right up behind the pace car, and it shouldn't be very long they go. I think they'll go this time. The pace car will take them up to the starter. He'll wave them on their way on this 30-lap journey, and there they are, strung right out. The starter's all set to go, but he's waving them back again. The pace car comes off. They're racing this time, and it's Hadley that goes to the front. It's Bob Chick that's going straight through to the front in car number 30. He's leading that the first time, and this real tight field. There's a ding or two. There's cars all over the track, and this is what we were telling you about. Any one of these cars could bring the whole field in it, but it's Bob Chick that leads the way. It's Bob Chick that leads the way, and there he...
Tell you who did get a good start up around the outside, and he's still up there honking, was Johnny Rutherford. There's Howard Revell going through, and I think one with his hand up as they move onto the back straightaway. Try that to stop Rutherford's move. He was charging through the field until that driver put his hand. It could have been Max Butterworth. We'll have to wait and see. Cheek still leading as they come onto the main straightaway with 2 laps down and 28 laps remaining in this dirt track Blue Ribbon Classic. And here they are coming through the turn and tight formation. Down the main straightaway once again, sideways into the corner, and I think it still is 30 leading, and there's Larry Rice in 79 really starting to put the big ones in as he moves up, zeroing in. We have one spun up in the top corner, one is spun up in the other turn, and this will necessitate the caution lights to come on. Drivers are still racing into it fairly, unless they pull that car off the track, and I think they may have as they make their way around the top corner. They have good work from the officials down the main straightaway once again, and really challenging for the lead, but still sitting out there in front.
That's number 99, Leo Verco, that's leading the field, and just in behind him is number 79, the 2-time former New Zealand champion, Eddie James. But James gives it away, and it's Alan Palmer that's got, not Alan Palmer, Mark Williams that's gone through into second place in car number 3. And coming up through on, trying to push his way through on the inside, that's Eddie James back in 4th place. Then we have Pat Johnson in 5th, and number 14, and number...
That's Revell going out.
Revell goes right out of the race. But there he is, Leo Verco, leading the field at this stage. Mark Williams right in behind him in the black car there, but that's Verco powering down there in car number 99. And the yellow James there in 2nd and 3rd place.
Have the yellow flags out just about where the camera is down there. Howard Revell is up on the concrete, up on the wall.
Well, that looks as though it's curtains for him unless they can get him started. Yes, they're calling for the push car to get him started again. That's the referee moving out, giving him instructions. He'll have to pull in at the tail of the field. Referee calling at the field to slow down under these amber lights.
Well, I think we'll have a look at the field if we can the next time around and just see who is leading. As Howard Revell is push started after climbing a wheel and almost embracing himself with the safety netting up there in turn number 1.
Well, that's Revell. He's got going again, and he'll have to pull in at the tail of the field. And the rest of the field would have closed up by now. Yes, we're just about there. That's Larry Rice there, and he's come through fit from the back.
Here comes Rice.
Larry Rice. He's up. He's practically into the lead, is he? Yes, Larry Rice has gone into the lead from number 20 grid Here he is, Larry Rice. Well, he'll be home and hosed after something like 4 or 5 laps. Larry Rice has taken the lead from the back. My word, what a drive, Mike Raymond.
I don't think they're going to piggyback. Let's pan back through the field shortly and we'll see who's running behind him. Car number 79 is still Larry Rice out in front. Into second place in
Barry Butterworth in second place.
He'll give it a good run from there.
And Morris is in third. They've got 23 laps to go. And this is going to be the race of the century. It's Butterworth in second place, Morris in third. But can they catch the Flying American, Larry Rice? That's Trevor Morris. He's in third place. That's Butterworth, number 1. He's in second place, but ahead of them is the Flying American, Larry Rice, and the yellow flag comes out again. And that's Larry Rice leading Butterworth right up there. So too is Trevor Morris. Where's the rest of them? They're a long way back.
I think Fenton could be up to 4th. Let's have a close look at the field as they come around. Here we have a slower field formation. Larry Rice of the United States leads, Barry Butterworth of New Zealand, Trevor Morris of New Zealand, Johnny Fenton of Australia, and could that be Ronnie Mackay of Australia? And looking to make sure whether or not Johnny Rutherford is still in contention as they make their way around. Here they come again and look for Butterworth to have a go here on the outside, but the yellow flag's still out. Butterworth has already signalled his intention. He's probably going to go for one big charge down the outside here as soon as that yellow flag comes in. Close formation. Larry Rice of Indianapolis, Indiana leads the field in the World 30 lapper here at Western Springs. Placed in second is Barry Butterworth, and I think we're ready for a start. The racing, and here is Rice under pressure from Butterworth, who cocks it sideways, is going to try and take him on the inside as they come off the turn. Trevor Morris staying with them. Johnny Fenton, don't discount him, and look at Butterworth. He's throwing everything at Rice. Through the turn and now onto the back straightaway. Butterworth's got it turned inside out as they roar down the straightaway here with Butterworth putting a ton of pressure on Rice. Takes the car inside Rice, but he's in trouble. And there, look at this. There goes Trevor Morris upside down, but and it really wrecked his neck. Really gave him a whiplash effect as his head was thrown back into the roll cage. I think he's okay. In fact, he has hold of the top of the roll cage, but they're calling on ambulancemen as he prepares to try and move himself out of the car. There he is, Trevor Morris, and what wretched luck for Trevor Morris, who was in the big show. Butterworth made an attempt to pass Larry Rice for the lead, but had steering problems, and then Trevor Morris went straight over Butterworth's wheel, is out of contention. I think would be a very sick boy.
I would think so. He jumped out of that fairly quickly, and that's most unusual for Trevor Morris. But my word is Butterworth certainly putting the pressure on Larry Rice. But Rice has been around too long to be sucked into anything that might let a New Zealander through and win in his own country. Well, what bad luck for Trevor Morris. He went up on the inside of Butterworth, and he seemed to clip a wheel and went up and over, and that was the end of that. And I don't think Trevor Morris will be back for anything more tonight.
Well, there we have the officials, as you can see, have almost thrown a smoke screen right across the track. They would. I don't think that they're racing. They've started with that problem down in the first corner with all that smoke and fumes. But anyway, coming off the top corner, it's lightning. Larry Rice from Indianapolis, who leads Barry Butterworth. Watch Johnny Fenton of Australia. He's up to third and loves a long-distance race. Into third place, Ronald Mackay of Australia is fourth. So it's up to Butterworth whether or not he can split the American and the Australians. Watch them come through here sideways as they watch off the speed. Rice has plenty of straightaway speed, though, and manages to contain him, and now Fenton's getting anxious. Rice has gone away from Butterworth, and Butterworth now finds himself under pressure from Fenton. They were very sideways. Butterworth and Fenton coming down the straightaway, locked together. There goes Rice. Will wait for second and third. Here they come. Butterworth has got the tail around so far that, in fact, one more slip and he'll be around sideways in front of the pack. Rice leading, second place to Barry Butterworth, third to John Fenton of Australia, and fourth at this stage would be Ronald Mackay of Australia.
And it looks like Larry Rice at this stage is going to be very hard to pick up. But that's second and third. That's Barry Butterworth and Johnny Fenton trying to edge Butterworth out. But Butterworth's been around too long, like Fenton and Rice. But Fenton is trying to push Butterworth. He's got his tail right round there. And there's 16 laps to go. And it's Butterworth in second place. That's Larry Rice up ahead. But Fenton's having a go at the tail of Barry Butterworth. But Rice has got it all there. And Butterworth's got his work cut out to hold Johnny Fenton back. But the yellow flags go out again. The yellow flags go out again, and once again, Larry Rice has slowed down, and Butterworth moves right up. right up on Rice's tail. Then we have Johnny Fenton, the Australian champion. He's right up on Butterworth's tail in third place. Then in fourth place is car number 14, which will be Ronnie Mackay.
Number 2.
And that's number 2, Teddy Tracy. Young Teddy Tracy, a former national 50-lap champion. He's spun out in the bend there, and the race has been slowed while he gets underway again. That's his father, well-known Brian Tracy, signalling the tow truck to get Teddy started again. But what a performance by these backmarkers, Larry Rice, Johnny Fenton and Barry Butterworth.
Talking to Butterworth before the start of the race, his tyres didn't arrive from the States and he's been forced to use retreaded tyres all night. Fenton and Rice are both on new rubber from the States, so I think Butterworth is going to be under some pressure. He can't afford to keep the car sideways like that even for another 16 laps, because he's going to be under a ton of pressure from Johnny Fenton. They're racing again, and let's look at the start. Here's Larry Rice with Butterworth tucked inside of him, and Butterworth's gone wide, and there goes Fenton, the Australian champion, on the inside. Johnny Fenton up to second, and he'll get stronger as the race goes on. Fenton, he drives it straight and doesn't really get carried away with too much of this sideways business.
And Mike Raymond gets all excited as Johnny Fenton streaks through past Butterworth to take the second running, just in behind Larry Rice. But Butterworth's now got his work cut out, and he's got to get after Fenton, and Fenton's got to get after Larry Rice. But I put the money on Larry Rice at this stage. Crossing the car right up, he boots it as he goes into the straight. There's Larry Rice, pouring the power on, crossing up early, slides into the bend, and there's Johnny Fenton from Australia in second place. Butterworth's starting to drop off a little bit. He seems to be losing a bit of traction there. The rubber's not holding out by the look of it. That's Larry Rice. Here's Johnny Fenton driving a good race, tucked up on the inside of Larry Rice, and he's pouring the pressure on. These three VWs out in front, and Ronnie Mackay in the fourth one, car number 14. All the VWs, they're pouring the pace on here at Western Springs in this World 30 lapper. There's 12 laps to go. That's Butterworth in third place. He's putting everything he's got into it, but I think it's a foregone conclusion for Barry Butterworth. He can't keep the car straight and under power. That's Larry Rice, and Johnny Fenton's the man that's working on Rice now. Johnny Fenton tucked right up, and one mistake by Larry Rice, and Fenton will be thrown into the front. Can Fenton do it? Can the man from Perth, Australia, come all these thousands of miles? Can he outdo this former USAC champion from America?
The only chance I think Fenton has of passing Rice is to get him on the inside going into the first corner. He hasn't been able to do it as yet. You'll notice he's got more straightaway speed. He comes barreling down on Rice, although in the last lap Rice appears to have pulled away a little. Watch them as they go onto the back straightaway. Rice about, probably 2 lengths, but notice the way that Fenton closes it up in the corners. Through the top corner now, and now back onto the main straightaway again. Rice with the yellow flag out, and we have one more with a car going 14 different directions. I think Rice, as we said before, is under a lot of pressure. Revell has already worked his way back from the back of the field. Away for a restart, and Larry Rice leads Johnny Fenton. Barry Butterworth is third. Howard Revell of Australia is fourth. You can forget the rest from there as they come down the straightaway again. Look at Butterworth. He's got it turned inside out, trying to get it sideways into the turns. He's got it all right, and Revell putting a lot of pressure on Butterworth now as they move down the main straightaway. Rice is still containing Johnny Fenton, but Fenton won't be happy with second. He'll nudge away at the inside. Butterworth has got it sideways all over the front of Revell as Fenton charges again at the inside of Rice. Nip and tuck, the best game of a dirt track style at Western Springs Stadium in the World 30 lapper, with Larry Rice of the United States leading Johnny Fenton, the Australian champion from Perth, Western Australia. Third is Barry Butterworth, and fourth is Howard Revell of Canberra as they come down the main straightaway.
7 laps to go, and it's still Larry Rice from the Australian champion Johnny Fenton. Fenton putting everything he's got to try and get on the inside of Rice. He tries to get on the outside of Rice to push him wide as he goes into the bend, but he's not succeeding, and Rice has only got to make that one mistake and it's all over. And it's still Barry Butterworth, and he's all over the track in front of Howard Revell. That's Barry Butterworth from Auckland, New Zealand, a former title holder, and he's pushing Revell wide on this on that bend. But there we go, back to the leaders, and it's 79. Larry Rice from Indianapolis, Indiana. And in second place from Perth, Australia, we have Johnny Fenton moving right up onto Larry Rice this time. He'll try and nose him through on the inside, but he's not doing it. He'll have to go at the outside, Mike Raymond.
Yes, a yellow flag out, a yellow flag lap, and Fenton didn't see it until the last minute. We have 2 cars up here against the safety fence, 2 of them that have collided and gone up the racetrack towards the safety fence. Both drivers seem to be quite okay. This has taken the pressure off the leaders somewhat, although Rice is going to find himself back under a lot of pressure very, very shortly. Alan Palmer in number 37, and car number 12, Max Butterworth, the brother of Barry Butterworth, who is at this present time running third in the race.
Well, what a tremendous race so far, Mike.
Yes, it's going to go right down to the wire. I don't think Fenton can pull an inside pass on Larry Rice. He's been too immaculate in his driving to date, but Rice only has to enter a corner 12 inches offline, and he's going to have Fenton down the inside. There's no room for passing on the outside.
Fenton's got to get on the outside of him going down the straight and push him wide so that when Rice goes into the corner, he slides wide and he's got to sneak through on the inside. But I think Rice is awake to that manoeuvre from Fenton, and I don't think he's going to make that mistake. So that being the case, he's only got one move left, and that's to go on the outside. And I don't think he's got the power to get round Larry Rice by going on the outside. Back to the race this time. They're coming through, and that's Larry Rice. Johnny Fenton up on the outside. Butterworth just about given third place away, but he chops Howard Revell off just to maintain that third place. They're all up there. That's Fenton. Here they come down the back straight. And it's Larry Rice. Johnny Fenton tucked up in there in second place. Butterworth side on in third place in front of Howard Revell. From Sydney, Revell this time starting to go on the inside. Butterworth chops him off as he goes into the Pine Tree Bend here at Western Springs Stadium in Auckland. And it's Larry Rice, the American, powering down. Johnny Fenton there in second place. Rice going away this time. Butterworth starting to nudge. And there's Howard Revell through on the inside of Butterworth. And Butterworth back in fourth place. That's two Australians in second and third.
Oh, look at this. We've got Fenton on the inside of Rice.
Trying to get on the inside of Larry Rice. But
they're getting desperate.
2 laps to go, and it's Larry Rice from Johnny Fenton and Howard Revell from Sydney. And Howard Revell tries to get up on the inside of Johnny Fenton, but no show there. And it's Larry Rice powering down through this down bend and into the straightaway. Larry Rice, Johnny Fenton, Howard Revell in fourth place would be Barry Butterworth. It's dropping back.
1 lap to go, and coming around the top corner, it's Larry Rice of Indianapolis leading the Australian champion, Johnny Fenton. Then on the outside, there's Howard Revell of Australia. Look at this for a finish coming up as they all nip and tuck coming off onto the back straightaway. Larry Rice still in front, sends it in sideways in the Gatorade Special with Johnny Fenton, the Australian champion, and he's got Revell down the inside of him as they come onto the straightaway. Absolutely locked together as they come into the bottom corner, and perhaps Fenton has still got Larry Rice, but Rice manages to bounce out of it, and Fenton gives Revell a signal to cut it out, get back off him. He's giving him a lot of pressure. Rice still leads onto the back straight away, and if anything, he's increased his lead as they come down the straight. Still back in second place is Johnny Fenton. Back in third, Howard Revell as they move onto the back straight away.
That's Larry Rice still in front and powering away, and Johnny Fenton right up on his tail, trying to look for that error that's going to give him the world title here. And Howard Revell up in third place, and he's looking for a mistake from Johnny Fenton. But it's all Larry Rice from America at this stage, cutting those corners real fine so that Johnny Fenton can't get through, and Howard Revell too.
I think the first three cars have got tyre problems. They've been burning outside rear tyres. Rice has dropped off the pace, but he just had them, and the last lap is up as Larry Rice finds himself under a ton of pressure from the Australian champion, Johnny Fenton, and Canberra's Howard Revell. Here they come, side by side down the main straightaway, with Larry Rice still leading. Johnny Fenton is second. Back in third is Howard Revell, and here they come off the turn once again down, and Rice waves as he takes the checkered flag. A great drive to Larry Rice of Indianapolis, Indiana, winning the World 30-lap Derby here tonight at Western Springs Stadium in Auckland. Second place to Australian champion Johnny Fenton of Perth, Western Australia, and third place to another Australian driver in Howard Revell from the Australian Capital Territory. You don't get races much better than that, Bruce.
That's the best one we've seen down here at Western Springs, Mike, without doubt, and there's nothing Mickey Mouse about that lot. And there he is, Larry Rice from the United States, getting the checkered flag from starter Bill Roberts, and he's doing a triumphant lap of honour around the track here, waving that checkered flag, and the crowd is giving him a standing ovation for the American Larry Rice going down the back straight. The other drivers getting out of their cars, and my word, what a race it was. I've never seen a driver come through from the 20th grid. That's right at the back of the field, and he was through to the front and breathing fresh air in something like 4 or 5 laps, and it was all over from the time he hit the front. What a champion, and there'll be champagne flowing in the camp tonight for this champion from America, Larry Rice.
Well, he has his pit crew with him from the States, and they've been here helping him prepare for this big race. He signalled his intention. There's Johnny Rutherford has just